Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So yesterday, Jim Ryan gave a business briefing, and there's a lot of information coming out from that, including some changes in strategy. And it's also looking like God of War Ragnarok will make it out this year. We have those topics and others to cover, but before we get started, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so we can keep you up to date with all the latest news. Now let's get started. Now it's been no secret that Sony has been pursuing the PC market a lot more recently, and it looks like they're going to continue on that path. We have this headline here from VGC. PlayStation says half of its releases will be on PC and mobile by 2025. And during that presentation, they have this graph here that shows their sales by platforms in the past, where it is currently, and what they project it to be. And you can see in fiscal year of 2019, you just had a really small sliver at the top here for PC gaming. And then in the center, you can see that color growing to about 3 to 4 times what it was. And then by the end of fiscal year 2025, they expect that PC share and mobile share to be half of all their sales, with the other half being on PS5. This would also indicate that they're planning to phase out PS4 releases by that point. Now it looks like Sony is continuing to want to increase their live service games. We have this here from the article. Speaking during a business briefing on Thursday, SIE President Jim Ryan said that expanding to larger platforms, and in particular committing to releasing at least 12 live service games in the coming years, could be transformational to our business. And I believe that's 2 more live service games than they had originally said. I think they made an announcement earlier this year about wanting to do 10. So it's obvious that Sony is wanting to diversify what platforms are available on, as well as creating more of these live service games that just keeps revenue coming in for long periods of time at a pretty steady rate. Now, also at that presentation was some more information about the PlayStation VR2. Now, if you remember, the technical specs for PlayStation 5 VR headset were revealed at CES back in January, and so far it seems pretty impressive. They have a 4K HDR screen, 110-degree field of view, and its OLED display will be at 2K x 240 resolution per eye and frame rates of 90 to 120 Hz. And now we also have this added to it, this headline from VGC. Sony says PlayStation VR2 will have over 20 launch games. And then they have a quote here from Jim Ryan. Right now, there is a considerable amount of money being spent on partnerships with independent and other third-party developers to secure a considerable pipeline of attractive VR content at the launch of PlayStation VR2. That energy, that effort, and that money will continue to grow as the install base of PlayStation VR2 headsets grow also. Now I have to say, this does get me kind of excited for VR. I'll have to admit, nothing has seemed worth the price of entry to me so far. And I'll pretty much need to wait until I see what games are actually released on it, whether or not I think it's worth the considerable amount that these usually cost. Now right now, there's still no official release date for PlayStation VR 2, and many analysts think that it's actually not going to launch until 2023, which kind of indicated maybe an internal delay. Since there's been no official announcement date, you can't really say it's been an official delay. And then also coming out of this business briefing, Sony gives some details on how they're planning to invest in new IPs when compared to their current ones. We can take a look here at the slide from the briefing, and you can see in fiscal year of 2019, 77% of their investments were made into current IPs, with only 23% for new ones. And then you can see how that's grown in this most recent fiscal year to 34% invested in new IPs. And then they're expecting by 2025 to raise that all the way up to where half of their investments are going to be into new IPs, with the other half going into current ones. So this really shows Sony wanting to expand out and not just continue to release the same IPs and not really grow the business much. And I'm sure when you combine this with acquisitions that they say they're not done with yet, Sony does seem to be in a pretty good position. And since we're talking about Sony and current IPs, let's give a shout out to the Korean Ratings Board for giving us more information about God of War Ragnarok. Here's a look at the rating from the Korean Ratings Board through Google Translate. Now, since the game is being submitted to be rated, it obviously has to be pretty far along. The Ratings Board couldn't rate a game that's only 75% done, so this leads me to believe that the game will release this year. Since we hadn't seen much from this game, there's been a lot of speculation that it might be delayed, but I don't think that's the case, and most likely we're going to see this get released sometime this fall. If you remember a few months back, we had this leak about a possible streaming puck coming from Microsoft. Well, it looks like we have a confirmation of this device. This headline from Windows Central: exclusive, Microsoft continues to iterate on an Xbox cloud streaming device codenamed Keystone. Now, a Microsoft representative sent an official statement to Windows Central, and it states, "Our vision for Xbox cloud gaming is unwavering. Our goal is to enable people to play the games they want on the devices they want, anywhere they want. As announced last year, we've been working on a game streaming device codenamed Keystone that could be connected to any TV or monitor without the need for a console. As part of the technical journey, we're constantly evaluating our efforts, reviewing our learnings, and ensuring that we're bringing value to our customers. We have made the decision to pivot away from the current iteration of the Keystone device. We will take our learnings and refocus our efforts on a new approach that will allow us to deliver Xbox cloud gaming to more players around the world in the future." So what this sounds like to me is they're punting. They've probably tested this device, they really didn't like the performance they got out of it, and now they're trying to see if they can come up with something different. I think something like this is a good idea if they can get it to work. Let's say you buy a $40 streaming puck and then you add a controller maybe you already have, or pick one on discount that you can pair with it. It would be a quick, cheap, easy way to game enable a TV. But as the statement from Microsoft says, since they're looking for a new approach, we probably won't see this device anytime soon. And it looks like we have some new games coming to the Nintendo Switch online service for both the Super NES and the NES. First, we have Congo's Caper, which came out on the NES, and this is a side-scrolling platformer developed by Data East. And then we have Rival Turf from Jaleco, which was a beat-em-up game on the Super Nintendo. And finally, we have Nintendo's On Pinball, which came out on the NES. Now, there's already an Arcade Archives version of this pinball on the Switch, but these are a little different. The boards may look very similar, but you'll get different reactions depending on what you hit within the game. I have to admit, I spent a lot of hours playing this original pinball on the NES when I was a child, and to me it's a bit like comfort food. I could sit here and play this game for just hours on end mindlessly. So if you haven't tried these, go check them out and let me know which one you like the best. And finally, let's take a look at the most recent Famitsu Sales coming out of Japan. Over on the software side, we still have Nintendo Switch Sports at the top, and then we have a new entry here, Taiko Rishiden 5DX, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, followed by Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, eBaseball, Powerful Pro Baseball 2022, Minecraft, Ring Fit Adventures, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, And then at number 9, we have another new entry, Snow Brothers Special. And then finally, Mario Party Superstars. Now, Teiko Rishiden is on several other platforms, but I don't think it's out on the Switch in the US. Now, reading through a description of the game, it says it's a game genre unique to Koei Tecmo games that combines simulation and role-playing. But overall, again, we're seeing the Switch dominate the software side in Japan. But let's take a look over at the hardware sales, and first of all, there's a typo here from this chart from Famitsu where number 3 and 4 should be switched, and you can actually see that in the numbers of sales. So you can see the PlayStation 5 recovering after bad sales last week, probably because of supply issues, coming in the 3rd place. And you have the Switch family of systems in the 1, 2, and 4 spot. And the Xbox Series S doesn't seem to be doing too bad. It's actually gaining a little bit of steam here in Japan. And then you have the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition and the Xbox Series X in number 7. So after all the headlines last week about Xbox finally beating PlayStation in Japan for the first time in 8 years, it looks like everything's back to business as usual. And that's all we have for today. Did anything we discussed catch your attention? Do you think Sony is moving in the right direction by focusing more on PC and focusing more on new IPs? And are you interested in PlayStation VR2, or is it just out of your price range? Drop a comment about that or anything else we covered today. I want to thank you for watching, have a great weekend, and be good.